or security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. Tonight on the show we have political commentator Benjamin Butterworth. He's going head-to-head with the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. We're going inside the clinic with Dr. Armour Khan. And we've also got handbag designer Sarah Harron. But first, let's go to the news.
Good evening. The top stories from the GB newsroom. Some breaking news this hour that 4 Labour MPs have had the whip restored. Neil Duncan-Jordan, Chris Hinchcliffe, Brian Leishman and Rachel Maskell will no longer sit as independents in the Commons following a review of their recent conduct, according to Labour sources. The 4 MPs had on several occasions rebelled against the government in the run-up to their suspension. Their most significant rebellion was that against welfare reforms being spearheaded by ministers, which the MPs feared would harm people claiming disability benefits. A foreign sex offender freed in error from Wandsworth prison has been re-arrested. Brahim Kadour Sharif, a 24-year-old Algerian national, was mistakenly released from HMP Wandsworth in South London on the 29th of October. Brahim Kadour Sharif had been convicted in November last year of indecent exposure relating to an incident in March of that year. Well, news just in this hour that ITV News says there are reportedly currently 4 more live cases of prisoners being sought by the authorities in England and Wales after being released in error. Well, earlier today, Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy said he's ordered new tough release checks, commissioned an independent investigation into systemic failures and begun overhauling archaic paper-based systems still used in some prisons. However, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch told GB News she is not confident that the streets are safe.
Yes, it's complete nonsense. They blame everybody else except themselves. They are in charge right now. If someone was released last week by accident, it's their fault. It's not the fault of the people who were there 2 years ago. And right now, what I actually want to see is this man deported. We're spending too much money keeping foreign prisoners in our jails. Our party's policy now is just deport all foreign criminals. No ifs, no buts.
In other news, GB News can reveal that more than 1,100 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel since yesterday morning. It takes the total for the year so far to 38,000. Throughout yesterday, 610 migrants had arrived in UK waters and were taken to the Border Force Processing Centre at Dover Harbour. According to GB News' provisional figures, 520 have arrived today. It takes the figure since yesterday morning to 1,130. GB News can reveal that Police Scotland failed to investigate a grooming abuse gang in Glasgow that targeted vulnerable girls in care. The Scottish Government is now considering conducting a grooming inquiry. That's after First Minister John Swinney previously said he wasn't convinced that one was required. GB News spoke to victim Taylor, who was abused by Pakistani men in Glasgow while she was living in care. She told GB News she was repeatedly exploited and went missing many times, yet police never properly investigated.
It's quite sickening because I always believed I was in a place like that I was cared about, and to actually find out that they actually had an incline that stuff like this was going on, and that's the bit that gets me the most, because this could have been stopped and it never. No police officer ever asked to speak to me regarding the sex exploitation claim that they came to the unit with. I wasn't aware that anybody had even visited.
In other news, Rachel Reeves has reportedly informed the spending watchdog that she intends to raise income tax. That's as splits are emerging at the top of Labour over whether to raise taxes as pressure grows ahead of the budget later this month. Deputy Leader Lucy Powles warned that breaking Labour's manifesto pledge not to increase income tax, national insurance or VAT could damage trust in politics. And former footballer Joey Barton has been found guilty of 6 counts of sending grossly offensive social media posts directed at broadcaster Jeremy Vine and television pundits Lucy Ward and Eni Aluko. Jurors at Liverpool Crown Court accepted the prosecution's argument that Barton had crossed the line between free speech and a crime on 6 counts. But they also cleared the ex-Manchester City, QPR and Newcastle midfielder of 6 other counts of sending a grossly offensive electronic communication with intent to cause distress or anxiety. Barton was reminded his bail conditions prohibit him from mentioning the 3 victims in any way before he's sentenced. And those are the latest headlines for now. More from me in an hour.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Welcome to Lee Anderson's Real World. I'm Lee Anderson, the Reform UK Member of Parliament for Ashfield. And joining me on the show tonight, we have the Editor-at-Large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths, back for about the 10th time. And our left in the corner, political nuisance, that is Benjamin Butterworth. He doesn't actually believe what he says, but he's great entertainment. But guys, this week, again, another week, and we found out that another foreign prisoner has just simply walked out of prison. Now, I ask you, should we just give these prisoners, when they walk into prison, a set of keys and 500 quid and tell them to be on their way whenever they feel like it, Charlotte?
Well, in a way, that would actually save money because they cost us a fortune being in prison. This guy, the Algerian that escaped, he was picked up 5 years ago for overstaying his visa. And they just waited for him to commit a crime, which he did 4 years later, and then again more recently, once for sexual offences and once for trying to steal, basically. Anyway, so what they do is they let them run free, then they wait for them to get caught, and then they put them in prison, at which point they cost us a fortune because we're obviously paying for their upkeep in prison. I mean, the whole thing is a joke. Why not just chuck him out 4 years ago when we realised he'd overstayed his visa?
Yes. Has Labour lost control of our prison system, Benjamin?
No, but there is little doubt that it wasn't under control when they were handed the keys.
Oh, here we go again. We're talking about today, the present, Benjamin.
Yeah, and of course it's a mess, but the fact is that, 18 months ago, they inherited a prison system where you could count on your fingers the number of vacant prison cells that there were going to be across the whole country. Now, that is an incredibly reckless situation, and that's not just my claim. Alex Chalk, who was the Conservatives Justice Secretary at the time of the last election, said that that's how bad things got. And so if you've got a situation where there's no cells, staff have pretty bad pay and really bad conditions by the sound of it, it's no wonder that mistakes happen when you have that set of scenarios.
It's making some silly excuses there.
That is quite a ridiculous excuse. Also, it is a systemic failure, obviously. One thing that really worries me about this Algerian is that what has he been doing for 4 years? Because he's overstayed his visa, so he can't work. So these people can't work. So is it a surprise that he ends up breaking with cause to steal? Because obviously he has to steal because he's got no way of making a living. And the authorities have known about this all along. He's not here legally. He can't work. The whole thing is a complete joke from start to finish.
Benjamin, when we catch these people, do you think we should just boot them straight out of the country?
I think if they've got a criminal record, especially a repeat criminal record, then that probably makes sense. But let's note that the Labour government is changing the rules so that it's a much shorter prison sentence that can make you eligible for being deported. I think it'll be, at the moment, it's 12 months, I think, and they're going to make that shorter, which is the right thing to do. I don't know why we let people stay here who've committed offences serious enough that you go to prison. But then on the flip side, the idea someone that moved here at 4 years old and then, gets caught nicking mawams from a local corner shop, should you kick them out? No, that would be ridiculous.
But you say that, Benjamin, but I was always taught that prevention is better than cure. And we've seen a great article just this week by Alison Pearson in The Telegraph, if anybody has read it, that some of these caseworkers that are assessing the asylum claims are having that much pressure put on them that they are allowing wrong-uns to get asylum status. And when I'm talking about wrongs, I'm talking about people that's committed crimes in other countries, people that's been caught doing all sorts of horrible sex acts near children's playgrounds and stuff like that. Isn't that the root of the problem?
Do you know Amber Rudd, who was host...
No, answer the question.
Well, I was just
you're not. You're going back to Amber Rudd.
No, I was
answer the
just
question for today, please.
Well, this is the answer. Amber, if you listen, you might learn something for once, Lee. Amber Rudd,
rude. How rude.
She was the Home Secretary in a party that you supported. It's hard to keep track, but you did at the time. And she said no one goes into the Home Office to kick people out of the country. And I thought,
well, I would.
Maybe they should, because some of these people deserve to be kicked out. But, you know, what I don't like is this sort of demonising that everybody who comes to Britain is somehow like these bad apples. They're not. The vast majority of people are the ones that are working through the nights, getting a bus at 4 a.m. to clear the offices that most people...
We're not talking about those, Benjamin. You see, you're making excuses again. I bet there's some people watching this would like to see you booted out of the country, making ridiculous comments like that. Let's come back to some common sense, Charlotte.
But this is my worry. It's not the working, you know, people that have come over here and that are working. It's the people that come over here illegally, and so they can't work, and so inevitably they commit a crime. Then they go into the prison system, cost us a fortune. This Algerian had indecently exposed himself and was doing community service as well as going to prison. And there's always often there's some sort of sexual element to this as well, which really troubles me. And often they've committed some sort of sexual crime back in their home country and then have escaped. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of bad apples. We can't just say occasionally there are bad apples. The numbers speak for themselves.
Benjamin?
Well, what are the numbers in that case? Because I don't think it's a significant proportion of people that migrate here. But clearly we have...
It doesn't matter, Benjamin. If it's just one person, it's too many.
But that's an easy... Of course, one person is too many. But the question is, what do you do? And I think the idea that you would collapse an economy by not having any immigrants would be a ridiculous conclusion. Well, then what are you saying?
We're saying... Well, I'll say, and I'll come to Charlotte, that anybody arriving here illegally should be detained and then deported. It would stop it immediately, Charlotte. What
happened with the Ethiopian was he said, at the very last minute, when he was being deported, and actually had asked to be deported, this is the crazy thing, he was then given £500 because they were trying to discourage him from making a last-minute asylum claim. And £500 is a year's salary in Ethiopia. I mean, the system is broken when you're paying people who are already begging to be deported and have already committed a crime, begging to be deported, having escaped from prison. The whole thing is just madness.
Hold on, it's like, didn't exactly escape though, did he? He went back to the prison 4 or 5 times and asked to be locked up and deported. Yeah, he was actually begging to be put back in prison. He went even to a library when the prison refused to take him back in 5 times. And then he was paid to be deported, even though he already wanted to be deported. It's madness, Benjamin, surely.
Well, clearly, you know, some of that is mad. The idea that he stands at the door 3 or 4 times asking to be allowed in is ridiculous. But, you know, these attacks on David Lammy as Justice Secretary, it's nothing more than cancel culture. The people who were responsible for these mistakes are people we don't know the names of, who work in places like Wandsworth Prison, who let them out, not the person in Whitehall. And I think trying to have this constant merry-go-round of ministers will not fix the problem. We need someone as capable and intelligent as David Lammy to stay on board and fix...
Oh dear, let me have a drink. Can you just repeat that, please? You're all right, let me just fan you there. Can you repeat that? As intelligent and competent as who?
He's a Harvard law scholar, right? He's one of the most intelligent people in the country. And the idea, it's ridiculous. You're just becoming into cancel culture. The idea that someone in Whitehall, you know, made the mistake of someone in a prison on the other side of London, obviously it's not directly their mistake. But what you need is someone intelligent to fix those systems and probably to fire some of the people that let them out.
Benjamin Butterworth, I'll give him his due. He's actually saying this with a straight face. He's not grinning. There's no movement there. He doesn't actually believe this, does he?
You can't believe that he did a good job at the dispatch box this week.
Did David Lammy unlock the cell?
Benjamin, please reduce your aggressive attitude and let Charlotte speak.
Oh, yeah. What did he say? What did he say at the dispatch box?
He didn't say anything.
Get a grip, man.
Yeah.
Get a grip, man.
Well, get a grip, woman.
No, I have to say, I think David Lammy's performance at the dispatch box was not a deterrent, you know, because actually the buck stops with him. So anyone further down the system, the people in the prisons, the people handling the paperwork, the admin that went awry, all those people are looking to PMQs and saying, this guy's not going to shoulder any blame. Why should we shoulder any blame?
We can let this prisoner out. It doesn't matter. Lammy's in charge.
Yeah, he's not annoyed about it.
But the mistake would be whoever made these mistakes, the idea that they would remain in a job so that you have other politicians to talk about on television programmes. That's not accountability. That's misdirecting where the blame lies. It's David Lammy's responsibility to fix the structures. Now, he's been in that job for a matter of weeks. He's not responsible for how this came about, but the people that actually did it, they should be fired or suspended, not the politician in government.
Is Lammy doing a good job?
No, I don't think. Certainly not at this dispatch box. He couldn't string a sentence together. He didn't wear a poppy. He went and got a suit, even though he should have been addressing this very important issue of the Algerian being on the loose. He wouldn't even acknowledge that the Algerian was on the loose. It was just a terrible performance.
Just complete pantomime, Benjamin.
Well, it is getting close to Christmas, but I don't think it's a pantomime. David Lammy hasn't really had any chance to do the brief of Justice Secretary after a matter of weeks, and he's clearly got a mountain to climb, but I can think of few people better placed to do it than a Harvard law scholar like David Lammy.
And that just shows you, Charlotte, what a terrible place we're in at the moment.
Yeah, it's so depressing because really all he had to do was answer the question he was asked 5 times and be honest and say, look, there is something happening. I can't really talk about it right now, but we think there is another prisoner.
Well, that's enough of that, guys. We're going inside the clinic next. I might take Benjamin Butterworth with me, actually, because I think he needs some treatment. But we're going inside the clinic with Dr. Arma Khan.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
Will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight,
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
So it's great news. We've got Dr. Armour back in the pub today. It's great to see you, my friend. It's been about 2 or 3 months since you was on the show.
Yes.
And last time we was talking about DNA testing, looking for health problems in families, in individuals, to like a DNA testing system, which you did on me. But for this first part of the interview, we're going to talk about cancer.
Yep.
You know, I'm a survivor, and you're of the mind, and I bet lots of people will agree with you that, you know, we're all going to get some sort of cancer at some stage in our life.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I mean, we live in a time when everybody wants to live longer, and there's longevity this, longevity that. But longevity has been created because of the success of the National Health Service. Right? At the turn of the last century, the average life expectancy was 40. Now we're into our 80s. So we're seeing a whole new challenge because, you know, we're not dying of infectious diseases. We're not dying of trauma because of having to go to war or, you know, in the Industrial Revolution with machines and all that. So what we're now seeing is people are living longer, and we're seeing the consequences of that. And that is, unfortunately, it's things like diabetes and metabolic problems, heart disease, dementia and neurodegenerative disease, and cancer. Now, we're living better, and there's a drive to live better through exercise, good diet, nutrition, all of that. So when people are living better and longer, if we live long enough, we will develop cancer because we live in an environment that induces change in our DNA. And we're seeing people much younger presenting with cancer, you know, stage 4 cancer. And the issue is that we're spending so much money, so much research and development into trying to cure cancer. What we should be doing, in my opinion, and also in the opinion of a lot of my colleagues, is we should be investing in or employing good diagnostics to catch it early, catch it before stage 1, catch it at that point where you're getting that stem cell dysregulation. Because if we catch it early, it's easier to treat.
But do you think, and I agree with most of what you say, Doctor, but do you think we are living healthier lifestyles now? Because I see a lot of people, especially in my inbox, when we're talking about health and stuff like that, we see a lot of people who contact me because they can't get an appointment at the local hospital because of obesity and problems like that. I mean, it's a huge thing. Go into any diabetic clinic in a local hospital and you'll see people there, generally overweight, limbs missing, feet, toes, problems with their eyes. So I'm looking at that and thinking, you know, yes, we might be living longer. Yes, you might be better at your job in the NHS, but surely at some stage we have to take some personal responsibility into how we live our own lives.
We do, but it's difficult sometimes because of access to the things that we need for good health. Right? So access to good healthy food, access to the education that we need to be able to process and make the right choices. You know, it's a choice. You know, whether we have a hamburger or we go out and buy something healthier, it's a choice. But it becomes habit and it becomes difficult to change. Because once we get into that sort of metabolic state, then the noise for food is different. The drives, our mental drives are different. And this is actually a discovery that we've made, that when our cells are crying out for sugar, our brains will drive us to eating sugar.
Is this when you've been on this all night? Is it normally?
Sometimes,
yeah.
But that's only part of it. Alcohol isn't the enemy. Overindulgence is.
Okay.
And there are levels of alcohol which are actually good for you. They reduce your heart risk, they reduce stress.
Yeah.
But it's how we drink and our attitude and our relationships with food, with alcohol. And that's down to our education. But also we get to a point where we have to make that change physiologically. We need medical input.
Okay.
And this is where the drugs like Ozempic and all that come in, because they have made a change. And they are making a change. They're the most significant medical advancement in pharmacology that we've seen this century.
Yeah.
But they need to be managed properly.
Okay. So Ozempic, that's the fat jab, isn't it? We've seen
semaglutide and
lots of members of Parliament are on that at the moment. Are you a supporter?
I am, if it's done properly.
Yeah.
They need to be prescribed.
Yeah.
They need to be monitored, and there are contraindications to them, like any medication. If it's done properly, it's great.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I said before, Doc, quite a few MPs are on this Ozempic, or is it Mounjaro, jab, or, and there's been some astonishing results. And I came to your clinic a few months back, and that was one of the things that you spoke about, amongst many other things, as well as trying to make me look younger. That's impossible. Just have a look at this clip here from Dr. Armour's clinic. Well, Dr. Armour, thanks for having me into your wonderful surgery. Now, you came on my show a short while back, and it was a very interesting discussion about DNA, about health, and you kindly invited me into your place. I guess what I'm looking for, Doctor, is I'm of a certain age now, I'm 58, overweight, probably drink a little bit too much, got a stressful job, and you start thinking to yourself, how long have I got left on this planet? So I guess what I'm looking for is for you to be my fortune teller.
Okay, a medical fortune teller.
Yeah, medical fortune teller.
Okay, I don't know if that's also almost an oxymoron, isn't it? It doesn't sort of go together. But I think to be able to do anything proactively in a preventative way, we've got to look at you individually, because everybody's different.
So what is, I'm quite curious about this DNA testing as well. Yeah. So what is the most interesting thing a DNA test will throw up?
Well, there are lots of interesting things. It'll throw up your history. Yeah. So it'll show what you've inherited, any risks, any advantages. So we'll be able to look at that, and we'll be able to weigh those up. It'll tell us your genes, and your genes determine who you are and how you function. Yeah. The colour of your hair, the colour of your eyes, the shape of your body, how you respond to exercise. Those genes will determine what enzymes you're producing, how you absorb your nutrients.
And could this test help, say, my children, and if they have children, my grandchildren as well?
If you have any risk genes, for example, a gene that particularly maps, or a group of genes that map for a certain condition, they can be inherited by your children. So, we talk about sort of inherited conditions like cancers and certain neurodegenerative conditions. Those can be picked up. If they're not there in you, and if they're not there in your partner, then they're not going to pick that up. Okay. Because you're not going to transmit negative findings. It's only positive ones. So, what we look for in them will be determined by what we find in you.
Well, hopefully this test goes well and there's not too much wrong with me, Doctor. But you never know what it might throw up. I'm really interested to see the results, and let's crack on. Thanks for that.
All right. Wonderful. We're going to take you next door, and we'll take the tests in our clinical room. Okay, Lee, so we've brought you to the clinical room to take your blood. Yep. You're in here just in case you faint. I'm sure you won't. But we're going to take some blood, and we're going to take some saliva tests as well. That's good. Okay?
Where's this needle? Where is it?
The girls have got that.
Oh dear.
All right. Okay.
Go on then,
Let's
ladies.
take the blood.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Sure, you're trained.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So where's this blood going now?
So that's going off to the labs.
Labs, yeah.
And that'll be analysed. We'll start getting results over the next week or so. Okay. But some of them take a bit longer, up to 6 weeks to come back, some of the DNA tests and more complex tests. Yeah. But, I think a lot of people have a dysbiosis because of our lifestyles.
It is, I suppose the job I do as well, you're always eating on the go. You don't sit down for 3 meals a day like some people do. It's just grab something when you can.
Sure.
So, I think that's a big problem for me. It's no excuse, but it's just it's convenient.
Well, I think once we have this data, then you can, if you can choose then to change your lifestyle and you can change your health. And then it becomes a choice based on evidence and data. I think that's the important
thing. I think that's the thing, Dr. Armour, because when I had cancer 22 years ago, and as soon as I got diagnosed with cancer, I stopped smoking. Yeah. It was like I needed that kick up the backside to say, this is not good. And it's up to you once you find out about your body. You have to make a decision, don't you?
It's choices at the end of the day. Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. So do you foresee a day when people will be able to pop into the local supermarket and have this done?
I think so. I think certainly with the development of telemedicine, AI, it'll become cheaper and easier and more accessible.
What about scams and cons, though? When people send for stuff through the post?
There are always going to be those. However, You know, what we're doing is we want to engage with the NHS,
Yeah.
we want, you know, evidence basis,
Yeah.
and we're also involved with education. So I think as we move forward, those scams, through education, people will be able to make the right choice.
Can you foresee a time then, Doctor, when as soon as a baby's born, they'll have this test done?
Yeah, absolutely. And even now, you know, pre-pregnancy screening for any risks for your child.
Wow, that's good.
You know, so it's already available for significant conditions. We want to make it available to everybody so they can make those choices. And then you can test the baby. As soon as the baby's born, what do they have? What's their predictive risk? And then what we can do to minimise that and to change it. One of the extra tests we are doing is your tumour cell detection. Okay, and that's because of your history of already having a tumour. Now there are two aspects to this. One is we're looking for predictions of health issues, including certain tumours that we can map for and we can look for genetically. Okay, but because you've had a tumour already in the past, then we want to ensure that there are no tumour cells, because if you've produced it once, there's a chance that you can produce it again. And then we're going to look for that. Okay. Now, certain tumours are totally sporadic, and you won't produce them again. But if there's a genetic predisposition, you've produced it once. It's an environmental thing rather than just a chance thing. Then we will be able to pick up those tumour cells.
When you say environmental thing, it's not the environment we live in; it's your body's environment.
Both, because your body's environment reflects the environment you live in. So you've got pollutants. You've got pollutants in the air, in the water, in your food. You know, there are lots of things that will impact on gene expression and on DNA damage.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, thanks for that, Dr. Armour. That was great, and it was a great visit to your clinic, and I feel like fitter and rejuvenated already. But we're going to have another episode of this on next week's show in the clinic with Dr. Armour. But coming up next, we've got right versus left.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Rain will continue its journey eastwards overnight tonight. A little bit colder this evening in the west, but mist and fog likely for many rural areas. We've got low pressure in charge, swinging in frontal areas, which will bring some rain through the next couple of days, particularly through this evening across central areas. After a fairly bright day, it will turn much cloudier this evening across the north and east, with some drizzly rain likely overnight. Now, it'll clear up across western areas. That could allow some mist and fog to develop, but it will also allow the temperatures to fall away a little bit lower than they have done lately, down into the single figures, particularly across the far southwest of England, Wales and parts of Northern Ireland as well. Now, where the rain is still lingering tomorrow morning across northern areas of Scotland in particular, it will be a bit of a murky start to the day, so a bit of a different feel tomorrow morning compared to today. Some mist and fog around, particularly over the hills and across coastal areas too. Further south across parts of northern England, there will be some brighter spells, but still some mist and fog first thing, and it's across the south and west parts of Wales as well, but we'll see the best of the sunshine first thing on Saturday. That's not to say there won't be sunshine elsewhere throughout the weekend. Saturday is actually looking fairly dry and bright once that cloud does lift up after first thing. So plenty of sunshine to come. The cloud will come and go, but it will still feel fairly pleasant out there as the winds are relatively light, particularly across eastern areas of the country. So temperatures climbing to around 13, 14 or 15 degrees, a little bit cooler than it has been lately, but still fairly mild for the time of year. And that could allow, with clear skies, temperatures to fall away to allow a grass frost across the east on Sunday morning. But elsewhere, the next batch of wet weather across the west will arrive through Sunday, bringing some potentially quite spells of quite heavy rain. And that will likely become a little bit more widespread through Monday and Tuesday. And although there's a risk of frost overnight for some areas, it's staying mild by day. Bye-bye.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's time for Right versus Wrong, normally, aren't you, Benjamin? No, it's time for Right versus Wrong. Sorry about that, Benjamin. But look, this week again, more nonsense, more hypocrisy. We see that the PM is over in Brazil at COP30. This is a place, by the way, Charlotte, where we've chopped down a rainforest to build a motorway. I think it's a 6-lane motorway for people from all around the world to fly to in their private, fuel-guzzling jets to talk about saving rainforests. The rich, the royals, the famous, the film stars are all there to tell us poor people not to go on aeroplanes anymore. Is this hypocrisy?
This is the biggest example of hypocrisy I've ever seen in all climate coverage ever. It's the complete joke. These are the lungs of the planet, which is why, of course, they're convening now, because they're saying, look, we always talk about the rainforest, let's have this in the rainforest. But when they originally said that, I didn't think they'd actually have it in the rainforest. They'd cut down trees. There are these acai farmers there who pick these special berries. They've cleared out farms to make rooms for hotels. And these farmers are saying, but when the COP clears out, when this is over, my farm's gone forever, And the excuse they're giving is, well, at least the lights that are lighting the highway that we built through the rainforest are solar lights, so it's all very eco-conscious. I'm sorry, a metal pole will never replace a tree, whether it's solar or not.
Come on, Benjamin, I'm looking forward to the defence of this nonsense from you.
Well, I mean, it's important that they replace any of the trees and the wildlife so that it's sustainable. But the question is, and I think this is one of the difficulties, developing countries obviously have a right to have the economic development that places like Britain have enjoyed for 200 years. And so when they do something like this, it's responsible to replace it. But should they be barred from doing it? I don't know that they should. And actually, when they do a conference like COP30, the number of people in that room that can make decisions far greater than a handful of trees in Brazil is massive.
A handful of trees, Charlotte.
A handful of trees in Brazil. But this is the whole point. It's, one tree is too many. If you're a climate activist, and actually some of the really die-hard sort of young Gen Z sort of climate activists, they'll be appalled by a handful of trees. And anyway, it's not a handful of trees. It's highways worth of trees. And it's also people's livelihoods. The farmer that was interviewed in all the papers this week was saying, this is it for me. This is the end of my legacy now.
I mean, I'd put you down, Benjamin. No disrespect. But I would put you down as a tree hugger. What's gone wrong?
I did once hug trees, actually. That was for a show on Channel 4 where we took hallucinogenic substances.
That also goes on in the rainforest.
Yeah.
But look, maybe that's what turned me mad. But, the fact is that I didn't know you were such an advocate for working from home, which would be the alternative choice.
Well, I'm not. Don't talk such nonsense, Benjamin.
Well,
this is a family show. We're having none of this nonsense on it. I'll tell you. No, it's not. Just go to a city where they've got a big conference room.
I think by doing it in the rainforest, then you have the whole world's eyes on the problem, on the fact that we need to protect these areas in the long term. Now,
what by chopping forests down?
Well, look, one road is not the scale of the problem. What we're talking about is...
the optics, though, Benjamin. It's awful.
But the optics is the point, right? Because the whole world will be reminded of the value of the rainforests. And I think we should be grateful of that. You don't get that in a city. You don't get that in Rio de Janeiro or Paris.
When did you take these hallucinogenic drugs? When was that? Yesterday?
About 5 p.m.
Sure, you've got to come back on this. Let's have some common sense here.
When he says the whole eyes of the world are on the problem is these people, I was looking at the pictures yesterday. It looked like the Cannes Film Festival. It's glamorous royals, film star Sadiq Khan, who's inexplicably there.
What's he doing there?
What's it got to do with London? And actually, not all the world's politicians are there. A great many haven't gone because they've actually realised what a fest of hypocrisy it all is. is.
It is hypocrisy, Benjamin, surely.
No, I don't think it is. It's about leadership. And when you lead...
Well, it's great.
We live in a...
Great.
No, but come on, Lee. We live in a visual age, right? Everybody... The most popular social media is Instagram, OK? Or YouTube for video. Now, people look at images. That's how they come to understand the great questions of our time. To do this in the place where there's a problem, well, that will have more of an impact.
Well, talking about images, Charlotte, what does the image of a rainforest that's been chopped down to make way for a conference to talk about saving rainforests, what does that look like?
It's the worst optics of all time. And actually, as a sort of royal specialist, I actually think William will be fuming about this. Prince William is an expert in imagery, and he's been in Rio de Janeiro retracing Princess Diana's footsteps, and the pictures are incredible because, of course, they're compared with 30 years ago. That's quite striking imagery. It reminds us all that he's been in Brazil, but he doesn't actually have to be in the middle of the rainforest as part of this conference centre, you know, having knocked down the highways, and also they've knocked down rainforests to make room for hotels as well, which I think is even more tragic. There must be hundreds of hotels in Rio.
Hotels?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they're sustainable, and the question is about whether overall this is for the interests of the rainforest and the environment, and I'm sure it will be. I just think that if you are physically somewhere, if you're seeing the problem, if you're seeing the issues and the opportunities, then that is going to strike a stronger chord. And when we have days of these images going around the world, people will be thinking we must save the rainforests.
By chopping it down?
Not looking at glass towers.
By chopping it down?
No, not by chopping it down, by seeing that it must be sustainable. Of course, rainforests change shape, but we have to keep them.
Right,
you'll get that better than in a...
We're just going to end this nonsense right now, Benjamin. You've had your say. We're going to move to the yes or no quiz. And I think did you win last time?
I've never won.
No, you've never won, have you? Charlotte's won a few times. In fact, I think you beat Stephen Pound last time. I can't remember. Everybody's beaten Stephen Pound. That's nothing to crow about, Charlotte. So the first question to you, Charlotte. Was David Lammy a success at the dispatch box this week at PMQs?
No.
Yes.
With a straight face. Is it a good idea, Benjamin, to chop down a rainforest in order to host a conference to save rainforests?
Yes.
You've done it again. Charlotte?
No.
Charlotte, should Prince Andrew return to frontline royal duties?
No.
No.
Oh, agreement. Number 4, Benjamin. Does Benjamin Butterworth actually believe what he is saying?
Yes.
He's getting paid for this. Charlotte?
No. He's crossed his fingers under the table.
Number 5, will the Greens at the next general election win more seats than Labour?
No.
No.
No. Do you want to come back on one, Benjamin? Let's talk about the Greens.
Well, they've got this guy in New York, Zohran Mamdani. They think they're having their moment with Zach Polanski and the Green Party leader. So sort of young, left-wing, intelligent, but I'm not sure it's going to get very far. The bit the Green Party doesn't understand is that its voters are Tories. They are overwhelmingly people that previously voted Conservative. 50% of their 4 MPs were previously Conservative seats. And so I think a hard left Green Party is going to do worse than the Caroline Lucas version that they've had for many years.
Charlotte?
I just want a side note. I wonder what the Green Party think about your rainforest chopping down policy. I'd like to know a bit about that. I think Jeremy Corbyn's party will pick up quite a few of those votes, actually.
From the left, I think, well, I mean, it makes life harder for the Labour Party because you've got the sort of working class, small c Conservative has clearly been peeled off to Reform at the moment, and then the sort of natural city-dwelling, urban, well-educated voter could go to these further left parties. But I think there is definitely a way through for the Labour Party. It will stop the Labour Party veering to the hard left like it did under Corbyn, because those parties are now separate.
Well, guys, thank you for that. It was a draw. It was 5-5. In the end, there was a tiny hint of common sense coming from Benjamin Butterworth. But coming up next, we've got Last Orders with Sarah Haran.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
An unsettled weekend to come for central parts of the Med, although Spain and Portugal will get away with plenty of sunshine. It's going to be breezy through the Canary Islands as well as Madeira, a few showers here. Less breezy for Portugal and much of Spain, but we continue to see a strong wind through eastern parts of Spain, wrapped around a low that's going to bring some heavy rain to the Balearics, and then as that moves east, it's going to bring further wet weather to Italy as well as Greece during Sunday Sunday and into the start of next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
That sounds like last orders at the bar. It is last orders. I've got Sarah Harron with me today. You are a handbag designer, handbag genius, handbag guru.
Or you could call me the bag lady.
The bag lady. So how
Much
did you get
simpler.
into making handbags? Tell me all about it.
So it was a hobby, and I was making the bags as a hobby to keep me off the internet. I was working
What
in
was
IT.
you doing on the internet? That's the big question.
It's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was managing very large data centres and making sure that the internet stayed up for really big companies. And I decided that I'd had enough of doing that, and I would go out on my own and actually make handbags, become the bag lady full time. That's what I did.
And where did you sell your first handbag?
My first handbag was the most ratty-tatty bag you've ever seen. It was like made of denim
Yeah.
and really, really rubbish. And when I reflect on it now, I'm actually quite surprised anyone bought anything from me.
Yeah.
Over the years, I have got better, and now I actually do have an atelier that does all the work, and they're actually skilled at it.
So are you making a good living at making handbags?
Am I making a good living? I am making a tighter living, I would say, this year. But for me, it's actually about bringing joy to people. I know that sounds a bit odd. How could a handbag bring joy to anybody?
Yeah, how can a handbag
I know,
bring
I'm
joy?
not going to make you smile on that.
Well, you've
am
got a
I?
handbag down there.
I
want you to
have.
lift it up now
I'm
over
going
the
to
bar.
lift it up.
And see how much joy that brings to my face.
Come on now, you can smile. You can. It's because he doesn't really know what a handbag is.
You was telling me before you've got some adaptations where you can change the design.
That's right. So, that's why girls like it, because they can change the look of it.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had a bag You've got to take a stretch here, but you can actually just make the bag look different to match every single
Do you know
outfit.
what would happen to me in Ashfield if I
What would
went to a
happen?
pub?
Well, if you were wearing that, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But if you were a girl,
Yeah.
then that wouldn't happen because girls are nice to each other. But you could go a bit more classic, and then you could put a little tassel-tastic, you know, they're a bit sort of...
So what sort of advice would you give to a man who wants to go out and buy his partner a handbag? His female partner, by the way.
Okay, female partner, okay. So make sure you check what sort of gold or silver jewellery they're carrying.
Whoa. What about the price?
Well, price point depends on how much you love the person.
Does it really?
Well, I think, or how much you want to impress her.
Okay.
So if you want to impress her, then you want to buy something that looks lovely, lasts a lifetime, and is a bit more unique, just like our bags, and enables her to think that you are amazing after you've bought it. And if it goes wrong, we will change it for you in an instant. So for most men, the fact is, it looks like you've made an effort and you've put a bit of thought in.
So what sort of price do these handbags
So they start at £195. Now that might
That's
sound...
£1.95.
I wish my man that makes them would do that for me. But no, £195 pounds, so 195. And we've got a range that our most expensive is £575. But they are all made handmade, and the fact that you can change them, if you work it out and you bought one bag, it would cost you about 54 pence of use, girl math, obviously, which is cheaper than a cup of coffee and definitely cheaper than a pint. So these things matter to your girlfriend.
So 3 bags on a boat. What is all that about? I read that earlier. What is all that about?
So 3 bags on a boat is our little podcast that we do. Was it videocast? We do it once a year, myself, Anthea Turner, and then we invite somebody to come along. And the whole idea is to talk about what they carry in their bag. And I don't mean their hairbrush. I'm more interested in why they're carrying whatever it is. So, like a lot of people carry mementos, things that make them feel confident, things like pictures of family, lost ones, you know, just whatever makes them feel nice. And for me, the bag is the one thing females take everywhere.
It can be quite dangerous as well, because I've been hit with a few back in the day.
I bet you have. Well, yeah, I bet,
yeah.
That's it. Well, bait you over the head. Luckily, these sorts of things don't do that. So the thing for me that most women it's about the moments of joy that their handbags have witnessed. And I like that. I think that just is, that's what we're all about.
Okay, we can put the bag down.
Thank you. There we go.
Step away from the bag.
There you go. You sure you wouldn't like
yes,
the tassel?
tassels. I'm sure I can put that somewhere. Anyway, grab a pint pot.
Right.
We're going to get you to. That's a pint pot there.
Now, just as well you told me that.
We're going to get you to pull a pint, which is the alpaca lips.
Alpaca.
I believe this is from Bradford. That's it's from north somewhere.
It's north somewhere.
Our producer, he comes from there. Can't understand the word he says, but just
right. Is this a slow thing or?
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. It's a competition. I have to mark you out of 10.
Oh, do you?
Go for it.
Right,
You've got 30 seconds to pull the perfect pint.
You know that I don't know.
You have to give it some proper pumpage.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's it.
There we go. It's a bit fluffy.
Yeah, it's a bit fluffy.
It is a bit fluffy, isn't it?
Put that on the bar right now.
Right.
It's full.
It's really fluffy.
It's really fluffy.
It looks like one of our tassels.
Yeah, it's really
kind of fluffy.
So put it on the bar.
Do they settle? You can see I'm not a great drinker of beer.
Well, yeah, as I normally would say, Sarah, I'd say...
Be nice.
Stick to the day job. Well, I mean, it's a shocking pint, Sarah.
Yeah.
Tell me, the leather that you use in these bags, where does it come from?
So we get it from Italy, and it is good quality. Italians can make leather. It's one thing they can do pretty well. So
you're not buying British then?
I would
I'm shocked.
love, I know, but don't be shocked, mainly because we don't have the colour range. Most tanneries in the UK, there's probably only 2 or 3 now anyway. And
so are we not very good in this country at making leather?
No, we are. We've got a really good tradition of making leather because we've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
My actual place of work is right outside a tannery in Scotland, but there is not the colour range. There is a smell, and actually the building that we're in is an old mill, and you can still smell the glues.
Yeah.
120 years later, it's kind of spooky.
So if anybody's got 200 quid spare,
Yes, or 195, 195.
Where would they buy these bags from?
They would go to our website, www.sarahharron.com.
There you go.
And we'll even give you an introduction. We'll give you the intro, the man that doesn't actually like bags.
And that would make an ideal Christmas present for a loved one.
Perfect Christmas present, even for you.
Well, it's a great interview with Sarah Harron. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And a not so good point, that's last orders.
I will get better.
Thanks for joining me on Lee Anderson's Real World. It's been another great show with great guests. But coming up next, we've got Friday Night with Matt Goodwin.
Thank you, Lee. We're going to be looking at these shocking releases of prisoners. We're also going to be looking at this new report on bias within the BBC and a bombshell exclusive from Charlie Peters on the grooming gangs in Scotland, which are not getting the attention they really need to get. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Rain will continue its journey eastwards overnight tonight. A little bit colder this evening in the west, but mist and fog likely for many rural areas. We've got low pressure in charge, swinging in frontal areas, which will bring some rain through the next couple of days, particularly through this evening across central areas. After a fairly bright day, it will turn much cloudier this evening across the north and east, with some drizzly rain likely overnight. Now, it'll clear up across western areas. That could allow some mist and fog to develop, but it will also allow the temperatures to fall away a little bit lower than they have done lately, down into the single figures, particularly across the far southwest of England, Wales and parts of Northern Ireland as well. Now, where the rain is still lingering tomorrow morning across northern areas of Scotland in particular, it will be a bit of a murky start to the day, so a bit of a different feel tomorrow morning compared to today. Some mist and fog around, particularly over the hills and across coastal areas too. Further south across parts of northern England, there will be some brighter spells, but still some mist and fog first thing, and it's across the south and west parts of Wales as well, but we'll